My advice for a lot of people that have passed that, like, say, 6-month hump, if you will, like,
Hmm.
I always tell, like, new beginners, if you train 3 times a week for 3 to 6 months, somewhere around that 3 to 6 a month period, you're gonna have that aha moment where literally your muscle memory kicks in, you know how to move and everything like that, and then all of a sudden, you just can pull off moves. You can pull
Hmm.
off maneuvers, you start really doing things really, really well. Your understanding of that you finally that door, that initial door for jujitsu finally opens up, and all of a sudden you start you have a very kind of basic understanding of how to move your body in all these different positions in jiu-jitsu, and you could start kind of like that's when watching YouTube and watching jiu-jitsu matches, grappling matches really kind of comes into play because at that point you become a fan. You're like, I
Yeah.
want to be like that guy, and then at that point I always tell them, find someone that you like to watch. Ideally, it's someone with the same attributes that you have, the
Hmm.
same body type, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Just try to see what that person is doing. And if it's like a high level individual, say for example, you are built like Marigali, like you're a white belt, kind of smaller version of Marigali, not in shape and everything like that, but you're young enough to sit there and do all that. I'm like, go look at Nicholas Marigali, and
Hmm.
you can. That is the pinnacle of what you can do, and like that's this type. Like we can start working with that. Once they get to like the blue belt level, at that point, I'm like, you have basic proficiency in everything that like let's just call it that let's just say there's 15 different positions in jiu-jitsu. You have basic proficiency there. You know what to do in all of those 15 basic positions. You might not be able to pull it off all the time, but
Hmm.
a good majority of the time you can. And it's at that point I'm like, all right, you're a blue belt now. You're like a teenager. Go off and do things. Be rebellious and try to figure things out. Throw stuff at the wall and see what it sticks. That's where YouTube really comes in because it's just like, okay, now you can sit there and start using all those different informational resources and start trying to kind of like study certain people, if you will, and hopefully the same attributes and so forth and so on. And from there, you can be like, okay, I can do that. And they start tinkering around with it. And then that's where I come in on the back end and be like, okay, I've also watched that person as well too, and this is what he does, and I see you trying to do it too, but this is what you're not doing.
Hmm.
So let's try to figure out how to make that connection. And that's kind of like I really try to kind of get everyone at our school learning on their own as much as possible. And it becomes to the point that once they're a blue belt, like a very well established blue belt, going into their purple belt, I'm more of a guide. I'm more of like a guidance counselor, if you will, or more like I'm just help a tutor. Like, okay, that's what we're trying to work on. Cool. How about we try this? I give them different ideas and stuff and so forth and so on. And then we kind of look at it together. And I'm like, and I just give more feedback or options. And I always tell them, like, look, if you're trying to sit there and play lapel guard and everything like that, I don't have the longest legs in the world, and this is how I play it. It might work for you, and if not, let's figure out a way to make it work for you.